So welcome to this tutorial where we in Flash will create an interactive video experience. So I've opened a demo here, so path selector.swf. Play number 1 and play number 2 are two buttons that we get presented where we can play back a video file. As soon as it's done playing back, we will get a message, so a consequence of that, and we can play the second option and again get some video shown, and you have one. Go back. For this, I have created two small video files. You can use whatever you have. So these are just MP4 files created in After Effects very simply. A number and just a ball rotating around. So I'll be creating a new project. It'll be ActionScript 3 based. It'll have the height and the width of my video. So put in the height and the width of your video. This will of course support Full HD if you have that. The frame rate, I'm accustomed to working with 25 FPS, but this won't really affect the way that the video plays back. This will affect the speed at which your timeline in Flash itself will play back, and well, we will be jumping between these frames on our own terms, so we will manually play back the frames we want to play back, which means that the frame rate won't affect anything. We'll set the background color to black, and we will click OK. So in this new project that we have here, we'll start out by creating two buttons that we want to be able to press. The simplest way of just creating these are creating some artwork and converting them into buttons. So I will start out by creating two boxes. So one here and another one here. I will select the boxes with my selection arrow here. I will make the one, I don't know, neon green, and the other one I will make pink. That's kind of a really standout color. Okay, I will select my text tool, create a text layer here. I will call this 1. I will make the text black so that it's easier readable on this very vivid color. Make the text a bit smaller maybe. Select the normal selection tool, put the text in the middle of the box. I'll copy paste it and put it in the middle of the other box. I'll change this to be number 2. So currently we're just creating an interface. We're just creating buttons that will respond to when we click on them. I will select the entire button number 1, so both of these two elements. I will right click and I can choose Convert to Symbol. So F8 if you want the shortcut. So in this Convert to Symbol dialog here, we can give it a name. This will be play_01. Remember, it's a good thing to name these different things so that it makes sense what the symbol or what the artwork is in the library. So in this case, we will call it Play BTN01 because it's our button. The type will be button. We can also select movie clip or graphic, but we want button because then we can add hover effects and stuff if we wanted to. We can also set a registration point so that we define in which area it snaps and stuff. So click OK. Select button number 2, right click, Convert to Symbol. Again, type button. This will be Play BTN02. And we'll click OK. Now we have our two buttons ready to be clicked. However, they still need an instance name. If it doesn't have an instance name, we can't reference it directly from our ActionScript code, which means that the instance name needs to be set. This will be the same instance name as the graphic name we just gave it. So Play BTN01, and this one is Play BTN. By the way, I'm using _02 and OK. If I add another keyframe now on frame number 2, so I'll select frame number 2, I can right click and choose Insert Keyframe. This will actually duplicate the content from frame number 1. So in this case, we want to just select the two buttons that we have on frame number 2 now and delete them. I know for a fact for this project that we will need to use 5 keyframes. So I'll select this here and I'll create a keyframe. I will be using the shortcut, which is F6. So I'll create one here, and one here. So these are the keyframes that we need, and they are empty, which I can see that the dot here isn't filled out, which means that the frame is empty. There's nothing on it. On frame number 2, I want to import my video. Drag and drop the video file called vid01 or whatever video file you might have, and drop it onto the content area. So here it's very important that you choose the load external video with Playback component. Because if you choose embed FLV in SVF and play in the timeline, it will actually put itself in the entire timeline down here. So if you have a video clip that is multiple 100 frames long, well, it'll just fill up your entire timeline with just keyframes. This can be useful in some cases, but not in this case here. So load external with Playback component. Next. Here you can choose a skin. So these are just overlays that will give you buttons for playback, but we don't really need that in this case here. So we will click None. Next. We'll get the summary page and then we will click Finish. Now the video is imported. So what would happen if we play this project back right now? You can use the shortcut Control or Command Enter to play it back. And well, right now it just jumps insanely between my frames until, well, infinity. I will get some output errors that it can't play it back because it just goes too fast and there's nothing on the frames and stuff. This is because it tries to play back our Flash file as a normal 25 frames per second project. However, this is not the case. We actually need to change the setup of this. So we will use a very simple code to just stop the playback. Select frame number 1 and go to Window and Actions. So F9 if you want a shortcut. This is the Actions dialog. I'll just move it over a bit. On frame number 1, layer number 1, I will write this dot stop. Parentheses because it's a function. And then semicolon. This will now stop the playback on each individual frame where this code is present, so this dot stop. So we will need to copy this out onto all the frames. So to test this out, Command or Control Enter, and I now have 2 buttons. I can't press them yet because I don't have any functionality on them yet. However, our playback stops at frame number 1. So let's copy paste this dot stop onto all the individual frames. So select them in the timeline, paste the code, select it in the timeline, paste the code, and do this for all these 5 frames that we have. As soon as you add code to a layer and a frame, they will show up in this actions overview thingy over here, which makes it easy to jump between them and see the changes that you have in code. Next up is we want to build the entire interface so that we know that we have functional buttons and everything. Then we can concentrate on the functionality later on. I want a button on frame number 3. So on frame number 3, I'll just move actions down here because we don't need it right now. On frame number 3, I will create a text up here saying that, well, this is the consequence of video number 1 where I might have died. So, you died, exclamation point. I'll select the text and make it white. I'll move it down. Now I'll create a button, again, just using the same procedure as just before. So I'll create a box, doesn't matter which size it has. I'll create some text on it, which is try again. This text needs to be a lot smaller. I will leave it being white because I'll just select the background box here and change the color to a deep red. So now we've died, we have a try again button that is red. We will select it, we will right click it and create a symbol. So we'll convert to symbol using either this button here or F8. This is the try over btn 01. Again, it's a button. We'll click OK. Now we will go to frame number 4. Here we want a video file again. In this case, I'll take my vid02. I'll use the external component, so load externally, no skin, and finish. And now it has been imported. I'll go to my frame number 5. Here we win. I will add some text stating that you win, exclamation point. I will make the color white and the text a lot bigger because we win. I will move it a bit down and then I will create another box down here. This one should be selected again. This one should be a dark green, like so. And I'll create a text on top of it here. Play again. And I'll make it a lot smaller. And I will make it white. Now we'll move it down. Select it, right click it, convert it to a symbol. This is now the try over btn 02. Add button again and OK. Now we need to set up all the instance names. So the instance name of this one here is in the properties up here, try over btn underscore 02. On frame number 3, we had the try again button here. This is the try over btn 01. And the videos also need a instance name. So select the frame number 2 first. This is my vid 01. And on frame number 4, we have the vid number 2. Now we have all our instance names in place. Now we will need to add the code. So I'll move the actions dialog up here. We will need another layer to add in all our actions. The reason for this is, well, this will just make the structure of our entire scene a lot better and easier to go through. So we'll go and create another layer down here. Click the new layer button. Rename it to actions. And if you move it down, it creates a keyframe at frame number 1 and then just empty frames, so normal frames, until there are no other keyframes in any of the other layers. We will need some action script on frame number 1, frame number 3, and frame number 5, because this is where our interface is and our buttons are located. So hit frame number 3, hit F6 on your keyboard to create a keyframe. You could also right click and insert keyframe. And on frame number 5, again, F6. So now we have keyframes for each and every of our interface layers. We will start out on frame number 1 for the actions layer. Here we will start writing actions for these two buttons. We call the buttons play btn 01 and play btn 02, so we can reference these instance names directly. Remember, click the frame. So we'll start out by writing play btn 01. So we want to add something to this. We want to add something from the library called an event listener. And the code for this is add event listener. This is a function that takes parameters, so parentheses. And the event that we want to listen for is a mouse event. So mouse event. And the specific mouse event that we're looking for is the mouse down. And it's mouse underscore down. Comma, what should it do as soon as it sees this event? Well, it should run a function. The function that we will be creating is the play underscore 01 and parentheses semicolon. We want the exact same functionality for our button number 2, so we can just copy paste this line of code and say that it should play or run the function called play 02, and it's the play button 02 that has the event listener. Okay. Now we can create our functions. In ActionScript, when you create a function, you write function and then the name of the function. So play 01 in this case. Then we can add some parameters. So the parameters that we will add here is an event, and it is the mouse event that we're listening for. So end parentheses. We can decide if it should return something or not. We don't actually want it to return anything, we just want it to run the code within the function. So we will return void, and then we will add our squiggly brackets. Inside the function, we will write goto and play and parentheses. So this is a built-in function in Flash that will go to and play a specific frame. In this case, we will go to and play whatever is on frame number 2. Because this is where our video number 1 is located. We will now copy paste this function because we need an exact copy of it. However, the name is play2 and the frame that it should be playing is frame number 4. So I have a small error here. It's not event underscore mouse event, it's event colon mouse event. Okay, so now we have the functionality that we needed for frame number 1. If we test it, so Control or Command Enter, if we hit number 1, it'll go to and play number 1 and stop there. If we play back again and we hit number 2, it'll go and play back video number 2 and stop there. So we have our functionality for the first playback. We basically just need to copy paste this code here because the buttons are the same and the functions are the same on the 2 other interface layers. So Control or Command A, Control or Command C, go to frame number 3 in the actions layer and paste it. Here we will be deleting one of the functions and one of the buttons. So we call these buttons here try over btn and then a number. So we will need to reference the same. So try over btn. So this is the one we want to play back. And we will call them try over 01, the function name. So we will need to go back to frame number 1 in this case. We can copy paste the exact same code. So Command or Control A, Command or Control C, go to frame number 5 in the actions layer, Command or Control V. So this is the try over button number 2. It is the try over function number 2, as well as down here. Now we can put the functionality on our videos. Let's go to frame number 2, where we have the vid01. We'll put the code directly on frame number 2 on the layer 1. The code that we want to run here is first we want to access the video itself, because we want to figure out when the video is done, because then we can go onwards to something else. So vid01 dot, and once again it's an event listener, so we will add event listener. Inside of this event listener, we want an event to occur. The event that we want to look for is called complete in all caps, comma. We want it to run a function. We will call this video complete, and I will add a capital C just for visibility. So the function that we want to run is called video complete, end parentheses, semicolon. Now we want a function. So function video complete is the function name. We want it to look for an event. The event is just an event. As soon as I hit my end parentheses, it will automatically import the Flash events library. Doesn't matter, it can be there, it can't. It'll automatically get imported when we run this code, no matter what. So what do we want the function to return? Well, nothing. So void. We will add our squiggly brackets. And here, once again, we want to go to and play a specific frame. This specific frame for video 1 is number 3. This is the functionality that we need for this layer here. But we will need the exact same functionality on frame number 4. So I will copy and paste it. So Command or Control A, Command or Control C. I'll go to frame number 4. And I will say Control A because I don't want to have this dot stop 2 times. And I will say Control or Command V. The video is of course video 2, so vid2. The function cannot be the same name, so it'll be video 2 complete. And again down here, video 2 complete. And we want it to not go to and play number 3, but to go to and play number 5. Let's test it out. So we have a problem somewhere. So access of undefined property vid02. So did we name it right? No. The instance name is vid_2 and not 02. So I can fix it either in my code or in my instance name. I will fix it in the instance name. So I'll say vid02. And now I'll try to play it back again. Okay, no compilers, no errors at all. So playback number 1, please. Yes, that works. And it jumps directly to you died. I can try again. Okay, that's frame number 1. Thank you very much. Play number 2. Yes, that also works. And jumps directly to I win. Way, I won my game. So I can play again. And that's basically the functionality that we need. This can of course be extended as far as you want. So with as many video files as you might have, with audio files, you can make an entire frame into a game or whatnot. This is just the basic functionality to jump between frames and to listen for the complete event of a video file. So of a playback event. That has been the path selector of an interactive movie in Flash in ActionScript 3.0. Thank you for watching.